We have a very special keynote speaker. Can you have a vision when you're a 9-year-old? The answer is yes, you can. You can say, I want to live in that world that the adults are destroying right at the moment. And you write an essay. And at the end of the essay, you say, all the children in every country of the world should plant 1 million trees. And some adults thought that was a pretty good idea and gave a helping hand. But the visionary is here with us today. Felix has founded, with a little bit of help of some adults, but a lot of inspiration from himself, the environmental organization Plant for the Planet, and he will share his vision with us, as he's done in China, India, and in many other countries of the world. And he's now got 20 kids working alongside with him and also putting around that vision. So Felix, please take the podium.
Hello, thank you that you give us children the chance to share our thoughts with you. It's not common, but children think it should be common, because for most adults, future seems to mean 20, 30, or 40 years. But for us children, in 2050, we will be about 50. And 2100 is probably in our lifetime. Personally, my history started 3 years ago. I was in 4th grade, 9 years old, and in our class we had the unit about the climate crisis. And during this unit, I learned a lot about Wangari Maathai, the Peace Nobel Prize laureate from Kenya, and she planted 30 million trees in 30 years with many, many other women there. And in this unit, I developed that idea that we could plant 1 million trees in each country of the world. My teacher sent me to other classes, to the student council. My head of school sent me to other schools. And my first presentation I called The End of the Polar Bear. But soon after, we noticed that it's not about saving the polar bear, but it's about saving our future. But I'm not here to talk about myself, but I'm here to talk about the feelings, the scares, and the thoughts of children from all over the world. We're probably more active as you think. About 1 year ago, we made a global consultation, we were 16 locations connected together with children from over 100 countries. And we made a consultation about how we need to solve the problems. It was before Copenhagen, and the 2 main results were that the leaders need to talk less and act more, and the best idea of what we children can do is planting trees. And after shocking results of Copenhagen, we made another consultation. And in this consultation, we thought about how we would solve the problems if we were the heads of governments and the leaders. And we ended up with a 3-point plan. The first point is that we have to bring all the carbon into the museum. We have to go down to 0 emissions until 2050. And when my parents, and you probably also do with your children, go with me to museums pretty often. And when I go with my children into the museum in maybe 30 years, I will show them the part in the museum which says carbon age. And they will laugh when I tell them that their grandparents on one day took out as much carbon out of the ground as it took the sun to store it there in 1 million days. And then they wondered why it's heating up. And they won't believe it. And beside these facts, there will be a few pictures with picture of Mr. Picard and Hermann Scher. They're showing the pioneers of that time. And the second point, we have that in the next 40 years, we have a limited amount of carbon dioxide, limited budget we can exhaust left. And we have to accept that it's limited. If we don't want to wreck our future, if we don't want to go over the 2 degrees that were promised. The scientists tell us this is about 600 billion tons. If 600 divided by 40 is 15 billion tons per year. Now we have to decide how we will spread this throughout the world's population. We could do it like today, that the United States and Europe get 60%. But for us children, there's only one answer. Everybody gets the same. And that would be 1.5 per person per year, 1.5 tons. We children have had long discussions about if we would follow the scientists and do something, or follow the climate skeptics. But then we ended up with one simple answer. If we follow the scientists, and in 40 years we find out that they were wrong. We didn't make a mistake. But if we follow the skeptics and find out in 40 years that they were wrong, then it's too late for our future. The third point is tree planting. If we have a gigantic tree planting activity with 500 billion trees, then this will absorb 5 billion tons of carbon every year. So in relationship to the 15 billion tons, we will have another 5. And these 5 billion tons can be used as a gigantic, or not such a gigantic time joker. Now, 500 billion trees sounds like a huge amount, but I want to share 3 examples that show it's not as big. 500 billion trees is the amount of trees we cut down in the last 40 years and did not replant. The Chinese planted in 2009 2.5 billion trees. So if they continue with this rate the next 40 years, they will already plant 100 billion trees. And one of my friends came up with another example. If everybody plants as many trees as he or she is old, then we will also reach the 500 billion trees. And we children are just putting these 3 points. First point is carbon to the museum. The second point is climate justice. So if one person wants to exhaust more, he can buy the emission right from someone else. Through this, we can also bring the poverty into the museum. And the third point, tree planting. We are turning these 3 points into a letter and sending them to all the heads of governments. And the children in Berlin are handing up the letter to our chancellor on the 1st of July. And we expect from them that they answer us how they are planning to solve the crisis until the 30th of September.